Hello everyone, welcome back to AutoTrendTV. I'm your Prajesh again from Chandra Hyundai Coimbatore today, and I'm here with the brand new 3rd generation Hyundai i20 ASTA variant. Before we get into the detailed review, here's a quick word on our sponsors. This video is sponsored by Boodmo.com, the spare parts expert. Any brand, any model, any spare part, they have the cheapest and expensive options all at one place for you. You can check out their website at Boodmo.com or download the Boodmo app, which is available for iOS and Android devices as well. Boodmo also offers return and refund assurance within 10 days of purchase. If you don't like the spare part, you can return it within 10 days without any hassle. Boodmo, the spare parts expert and quite literally the one-stop shop for all your automotive spare part needs. This here is the ASTA and not the ASTA optional variant. That means this is one variant lower to the top spec ASTA optional variant. However, at first glance, this looks exactly the same as the ASTA optional top spec variant, at least on the outside. And being the second topmost variant of the Hyundai i20, this is also expected to be loaded with features. First, let's start with the exterior design. Of course, being one among the top spec variants, you get LED projector headlamps similar to the ASTA optional variant, while also providing projector fog lamps. And of course, the large cascading grille along with the front splitter-like design come with a glossy black finish as standard from the Magna variant itself. Moving towards the sides, of course, you can see the very same 16-inch dual-tone alloy wheels seen on the ASTA optional variant. And here's a quick look at the side profile of this ASTA variant. In fact, you can easily mistake this for the ASTA optional variant. That's because there is no difference whatsoever on the side profile. This ASTA variant itself gets these large chrome door handles along with the chrome piping around the window line, which turns sharply towards the roof on the C-pillar. Moving towards the rear as well, this looks exactly the same as the ASTA optional variant. You get the very same Z-shaped sharp LED tail lamps, which are again connected by a chrome strip as standard from the Sportz variant itself. Both the ASTA and the ASTA optional variants get only an ASTA badging on the tailgate, and both the variants come as standard with a rear windshield wiper washer and defogger. However, the only difference when it comes to the ASTA and the ASTA optional variant is the lack of an electric sunroof on this ASTA variant. Though this variant is loaded with enough features, the ASTA optional variant provides even further fancy features, including an electric sunroof. So let's now get inside this car to check out all the differences inside the cabin as well. Yes folks, I'm right now inside the brand new 3rd generation Hyundai i20 ASTA variant. This is one variant lower to the top spec ASTA optional. So while you may get almost all the features you will see on the ASTA optional, you still lack a few certain features. Let's talk about the similarities and the common features over here. First of all, this here is the steering wheel, which is exactly the same and gets the beautiful leather wrapping along with contrast stitching. So this is a very good feature to have, and the steering itself looks quite good. However, you can see that this steering wheel lacks cruise control, and cruise control is a feature exclusively available only on the top spec ASTA optional variant. However, this variant along with the Sportz variant also gets automatic headlamps, which is clearly visible on the headlamp stock. And of course, other features include these two screens. This here is the digital instrument cluster. Let me just turn on the ignition because it's quite hot here today. And this is how everything looks like when you turn on the engine. So as you can clearly see, this here is the massive 10.25-inch touchscreen infotainment system, which is exactly the same as seen on the Creta as well. So the UI is very good to use, and is also very familiar. So let's just get into the menu, and well, that is not the menu. Yeah, as you can see, this here is the menu. You get Android Auto, Apple CarPlay and Bluelink connectivity as well, even on this ASTA variant. And you can also see that the Bluelink connectivity functions are integrated on the IRVM. Let me just focus here proper. And as you can see, you get SOS, Emergency Assist and Bluelink button on the IRVM as well, quite similar to the ASTA optional variant. The aircon is very effective, and this here is the automatic climate control, quite similar to the ASTA optional variant again. All the controls have got a pretty robust feel to it, and they look very good as well. Now this here is the digital instrument cluster seen on the Sportz and the ASTA optional variants, so nothing new over here. This instrument cluster also gets tire pressure monitoring, and the display at the center can be controlled and adjusted using the buttons on the right side of the steering wheel. As you can clearly see, this instrument cluster depicts a 3D image of what door is open, and there are of course the trip meters and average mileage meters, and yeah, other things include, just a minute. So this here is the compass, and this here is the tire pressure monitoring. tire pressure will be visible only if you start driving this car, so that is a very helpful feature for a premium hatchback. And other things of course are exactly familiar. On the left side you get the speedometer with a digital readout and the fuel gauge, and on the right side you get the tachometer along with the digital meter, and you also get the engine temperature gauge. So this is a familiar display for the instrument cluster, and it is very good to look at as well. Now talking about this touchscreen infotainment system, this may be the same 10.25 inch touchscreen, and even this ASTA variant gets Bose speakers. As you can clearly see, you get the Bose branding on the speakers, and the audio quality is going to be absolutely fantastic. That's because this also gets a subwoofer. In total there are 7 speakers in this car, including the subwoofer. So that was all. Now talking about other things available, of course the seat fabrics remain exactly the same as seen on the Sportz and the Magna variant, so no difference over here. Only the top spec turbo ASTA optional variant gets leather upholstery. The regular 1.2 liter Kappa petrol engine equipped models does not get leather upholstery, even on the ASTA optional variant. So this here is a quick look at the dashboard. As you can see, every material, finish and feel remain exactly the same as standard across all variants, so that is quite a good thing to have. Talking about the center console, of course I already showed you the climate control console. Coming lower to that, of course you get 2 USB ports, one for the connectivity and one for the smart charging, and you also get a 12-volt charging socket at the center. Now just below that you get the wireless charging pad, which is quite a convenient feature to have if you have compatible smartphones, so that is also quite good. This feature is not available on the lower variants. This is available only on the ASTA and the ASTA optional variants. So this here is the 5-speed manual transmission for this 1.2 liter Kappa petrol engine, and it is very slick talking about it, so that's quite good. Talking about other standard features, of course you get the handbrake lever. Just beside that you get 2 cup holders, and this here is the armrest, which is quite soft and cushy. It is adjustable, as you can clearly see, for the manual variants, and that is quite handy. And opening the armrest you get a decent amount of storage with a felt lining on the inside, so that is quite good again. Another good thing about the i20 is that you get tilt and telescopic adjustable steering wheel as standard across all variants, so that is also quite good. If you want to turn on the reverse parking camera while moving forward, also you get the button on the right side of the steering wheel. So pressing this button will automatically activate the reverse parking camera even if the car is moving forward. However, let me just slot this car into reverse to check out the reverse parking camera display. So this is the reverse parking camera display, and the quality is well, not bad. It is quite decent. However, this car also gets adaptive guidelines on the top spec variants, so that is quite a nice feature to have. And you also get the sensor monitor separately on the right side. So these are quite convenient features on this almost top spec variant. Now coming to other things, let's talk about the driver's door. Of course you get all 4 power windows right from the Magna variant itself, and from the Sports variant onwards you also get auto folding ORVMs, so that is quite good again. However, even on this ASTA variant you get only an all black cabin. A slight bit of other contrasting colors such as a silver finish or even a beige dual tone theme could have been slightly better, but still it is okay. The interior quality is really good, and the fit and finish is simply top spec, so that is a good thing. Now the major difference when it comes to the ASTA and the ASTA optional variant is simply the lack of a sunroof on this ASTA variant. Only the ASTA optional top spec variant gets an electric sunroof, which is quite good and a fancy feature to have nowadays. Now this here is the sunglass holder, which is present on all variants, which is quite good, and you get 2 individual cabin lights at the front. Along with that you also get a separate cabin light for the rear seat passengers as well, so that is quite good. And that was all about the features and the convenience available in the front part of the cabin of the brand new 3rd generation Hyundai i20 ASTA variant, which is not the top spec variant. So let's just get to the back seat right now. Yes folks, I'm right now in the back seat of the brand new 3rd generation Hyundai i20 ASTA variant. This is not the top spec ASTA optional variant, but still it gets a whole lot of features as standard. Well, most of them filtered from the ASTA optional variant itself, including the massive touchscreen infotainment system, automatic climate control, and the digital instrument cluster. However, this car clearly lacks the electronic stability program, traction control, and hill assist. which are available only on the top spec ASTA optional variant. And of course, talking about safety features, this car also lacks the side curtain airbags. As you can clearly see, there is no airbag badging on the side pillars. Only the ASTA optional variant gets 6 airbags, including side and curtain airbags. This being the ASTA variant, you get only dual airbags along with ABS, EBD, and engine immobilizer, pre-tensioner equipped seat belts, and smart key access. So that was all. Now talking about the rear seats, of course the space remains a big plus point for the Hyundai i20, and even the thigh support is pretty good. But still, the thigh support could have been slightly better to make it simply the best in segment, but still it is quite okay. You get rear AC vents as standard from the Magna variant itself, along with a smart USB charging socket and a smartphone holder. So that is quite good. Now, one thing I would like to point out is that even on this ASTA variant, you do not get adjustable headrests for the rear seat passengers, despite getting a massive touchscreen infotainment system and LED projector headlamps. The focus is clearly on features as against to say basic safety such as whiplash injury. So this is exactly the same seat as seen on the Magna and the Sportz variant, so no difference over here. Even the design pattern, the non-adjustable headrest design is quite exactly the same. And even on this ASTA variant, you do not get ISOFIX child seat mounts. As you can clearly see, there is no mount over here and there is no labeling for ISOFIX. And if you want additional safety features such as hill hold, traction control and rear adjustable headrests, you will have to opt for the ASTA optional variant. And additionally, if you want 6 airbags, you definitely have to go for that variant only. So apart from that, the rear seat is pretty good and the space is quite decent. You can just about squeeze 3 people abreast over here, and no soft touch materials on the armrests, of course, even on the top spec variant. And the good thing is that you get Bose speakers on this ASTA and even on the ASTA optional variant, and you get large 1 liter bottle holders on every door. So that was all about the rear seats of the brand new ASTA variant of the 3rd generation Hyundai i20. Now let's just take a look at the boot space. Opening the boot of the 3rd generation brand new Hyundai i20 ASTA variant, of course the boot space is at 311 liters in overall capacity, which remains standard across the range. As I already said, this ASTA variant gets 7 speakers including a subwoofer located on the left side of the boot. And quite similar to the ASTA optional variant, on the right side you get a boot lamp along with a bag hook. As you already know, even the ASTA optional variant of the i20 does not get 60-40 split folding rear seat, and from the Sportz variant onwards, you also get a parcel shelf. Quite similar to the ASTA optional variant, when you open the boot floor, you get to see a 15-inch steel space saver spare wheel, as against to the 16-inch alloy wheels provided on this model. So that was all about the boot space and luggage capacity of the brand new 3rd generation Hyundai i20 ASTA variant. Now let's shut the boot and talk about the pricing before concluding this review. So the brand new Hyundai i20 ASTA variant. This variant, even though not being the top spec variant, still provides you with a lot of features, the main highlight being the massive 10.25-inch touchscreen infotainment system with Bluelink connectivity. Other key highlights include the Bose surround sound system, automatic climate control, and 16-inch alloy wheels along with LED projector headlamps. However, despite being one among the top spec variants, this variant still lacks rear adjustable headrests, electronic stability program with hill hold and side curtain airbags. But considering the pricing, overall this seems like a well-loaded top spec variant with adequate space and comfort. Now all that remains to be seen is the global NCAP crash test rating. So do let me know in the comment section below what do you think about this ASTA variant of the brand new 3rd generation Hyundai i20 premium hatchback. Meanwhile, this is Viprajesh signing off. See you on another video. Thank you for watching.